Kendrick, some of your older teammates have really raved about you this camp. What do you feel like is really working for you compared to a year ago?
I would really say just taking in their advice and really just sitting down and really learning from those guys. Having experienced guys like Deion, Keyshawn, Oxendine, and Trey and Khalil, you could really learn a lot. And from me being hurt, shoulder surgery in last December, I kind of missed football, and I was just sitting back and kind of really learning from those guys and trying to develop my game to where I want to go.
Because of the injuries on the line, did you feel like there was a real opportunity for you this camp to come in and seize this moment?
Yes. With Josiah Hayes being out and Tavion Gaddison, which are two really good nose guards for us, I have to come in and be able to fill that position. And it's been hard, from playing field in, moving in the inside, but kind of getting that strength back and everything, putting weight on. I've been getting better each day, and I've just been trying to stack those days. So
your weight, I think the roster list you were down like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Gain weight. How was that process?
Yeah. So when I had got shoulder surgery, I probably dropped like 20, almost 30 pounds. So right now I'm back up to 270, trying to get back up to 275. But just putting that muscle mass on has really helped me a lot. So yeah, working with Coach Ed and Coach Hill, they've been like kind of focusing more lifts on my shoulders, so it's been pretty good with the rehab and everything like that.
A lot's expected of your group for obvious reasons, but have you all kind of bonded over that? I mean, are you pulling together knowing how much is expected?
Yes, sir. So we actually have a close bond in the D-line room, group chats, and just like I said, when we out in the field, we really try to help each other like get better, and it's really no selfishness in the group and all. And Coach Stu is really great with us as well, with teaching us life lessons as well that go on more than just football. So we really do have a good connection in the D-line room.
Which of those offensive linemen are giving you issues as you're learning a new position inside?
Yeah, Eli, because Eli is a vet, so he's been giving me a lot of issues. But going against guys like Kobe Keenum, he's been getting better every day with us. So, just battling with those two guys have really been getting me better.
What do you think it takes to be an effective, if not outstanding, D lineman in the Southeastern Conference?
I would say aggression and just, playing hard. If you play hard and play with your hands, extension, you should be able to make the plays that are set for you to make. Just being patient, using your eyes, and that's really it. But you got to have aggression coming in the SEC for sure.
Well, I'll ask you an inside linebacker question. Just talking to Mike with Deverin, how's his progression after we saw what he could do last year? What have you seen from him in camp?
Yeah, the big thing with Dave, like first of all, is body comp, right? Like trying to add, muscle, add a little bit of weight, just so that you can withstand the rigors, of an SEC season. Like I think he has, and we talked about it. I can't remember if it was early this camp or in spring. That an understanding of our defense far superior to where he was at this point last year, and so now he. Not only can he execute at a high level, but he understands when he makes a mistake. He can self-correct. We talk about that, quite a bit in terms of, hey, a guy has started to get there when he can auto-correct, when he comes to you and says, Coach, I missed this, before you can even give him the correction. And so he's getting into that level right now. And so that's been really good to see. Has, been flying around, making plays. And so we need him to continue to do that. I feel good sort of about that room. We've talked about, the depth and the level of experience we have in that room. We're going to lean heavy on it, and he's one of those guys we're going to lean on.
Speaking of one of those guys, Hawk told us at media day, or maybe it was last week, that football's just football, but he was still picking up kind of all the terminology and things like that. How have you seen his progression?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, right? Football's football. When the pads come on, at the end of the day at that position, you've got to know what to do. You've got to know where the run fits are. But, hey, listen, we don't need robots. We need playmakers. We need guys that can find the football, hunt it up, and then pin it to the ground, And he's a guy that's done that in the past. He's shown it through, spring and then fall camp. And we're going to need him to do it in the fall. every day he gets a little bit better and more nuanced, at our terminology, the way we operate, the techniques that we run, because every defense that you go into is slightly different. But you can see that the confidence level really rising in the understanding level. And it's like anything, like when you finally make that connection point and you bridge the gap to say, okay, this is what it used to be, how do I execute it without always having to think? You think about a foreign language, right? The moment that you can actually think in the language that you're trying to speak as opposed to always translate it, man, you're off and running.
How do you think of those scrimmages as moving days? Was there anybody who jumped out who said, I'm going to need more of this, learned a bigger role on Saturday?
Knowing that I just identify, yeah.
I know you're never satisfied, but how do you feel about where you are at this stage of camp right now?
I would say that I'm glad that we still have a couple of weeks left. But I think the energy, the intensity is there. The way they go about their business is there. We're still in that, we got to just clean up some of the small things, and clean up some of the technical things. But I think we're right about where you should be at this point in camp. I think if every year, somebody's asked me that question, it's probably been about the same. Like, as a coach, you never quite feel ready. I mean, it'll be that, whatever it is, Wednesday, I guess, is when we talk on defense before Southern Miss, and I'm going to be saying I can't wait for us to have these last 3 practices. You feel like you need everyone. I think our guys are ready. Like if we had to play this weekend, are we as polished as we need to be? No, but with the energy level, with the way they fly around, I'm pleased with where they are at that point.
We just heard about the bonding that's come in the D-line room and in that group, helping each other. How apparent is that in the practices now?
Oh, you can see it. You can see the communication. So much is about communication and energy. And so when guys are talking, when they're flying around, when they're, good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to go to their team. They're celebrating the good things they do. They're there coaching them on the things that they've done wrong. You feel the communication coming off the sideline. So the guys on the side are getting mental reps because they're engaged. Watching the guys, especially the older guys, they're watching the younger guys, trying to be, an extra set of eyes, for those guys. Because as a coach, you're watching the next group, and you can't always make the corrections. And so to have a veteran group that young guys walk off to, and they're, hey JJ, what about this? Hey Max or Zion, what about this? It's great for those young guys, and it helps speed their development. And we're going to need those guys. There's some young guys out there. That I'm not going to, mention, but that I'm really looking forward to see playing this fall.
How did that group, I haven't heard you talk about Ox tonight, about Ox this camp. What's his progression like and going into a big senior year?
You know what? You've seen the added weight show up. You've seen the strength that it brings, the power, the girth that it brings. He's put on weight, so he's back to sort of where he needs to be for him to function at a high level, and where he was functioning, way back before that injury in the LSU game in 21. And so, there's couple of plays in practice that he made today, specifically in some situational things that you're like, okay, that's the Ox we need right there. Like that can help change a game, that can close out a game, and we need him to play like that.
Where do you see this unit potentially taking another step, based on what you've seen so far?
Where do we see it taking a step? Yeah. Hopefully, we need to take that step back to where we were in 22 on third down. We weren't nearly good enough in third down last year, so we need to take that step from an understanding. And I'd really like to see us just stay nice and consistent throughout the season. I thought last year we were a little up and down at times. We could play really good, but then there were times that we didn't play well, and it might have rocked us a little bit. I just want to see, especially with a veteran group, keep our heads. There's going to be highs and lows throughout a game, throughout a season, but just staying level-headed and being able to attack the next drive with a confidence and an urgency and a swagger that, okay, listen, so you got yours on that last drive. We're about to get ours again. And we need to have that. You got to play with a little bit of a screw loose when you're on defense, and you got to have a short memory. We talk about our guys all the time. They got to be goldfish. They got to have 6-second memories, right? And play the next play.
Right, have you seen that progress from Tyrese Spearberry that you talked about in the spring? Is that carried over in the camp?
It has. The thing with Tyrese is I just want to continue to see the consistency, because it's one of those things you see flashes of, unbelievable play, and then, being able to just control it all and understand, hey, listen, every play, isn't going to be a highlight reel play. Most plays that you play as a player are not going to be on your highlight reel. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be reliable. You've got to, you got to be able to strike and set edges when it's time to strike and set edges. Then there's times to get loose, and so all those things he's continuing to build on from a consistency standpoint. But we know the player and the impact that he can have, when he stays focused and just, in a good framework.
One more, guys. Waller obviously hadn't had too much practice during fall camp, but what have you seen from him so far when he has had a chance to play?
Yeah, you feel that length, right? Like big, long guy that can get his hands on balls, even if the body position isn't perfect. The length that he has, with his arms, can get the balls off receivers, or get his hand in and have some ball disruption at that point. Again, another one where it's just, hey, listen, it's about just consistency of plays, and some of that, for a newer guy is just understanding what to do. And he's still learning, no different than at least Pop had all spring, right? You come in as a transfer, and man, it's all new terminology. You're just trying to pick up fast. So, but once we get through that, you can see the athletic, skill set.
Nichols is a guy that keeps popping up when we talk to the offensive players, and somebody that's kind of flashed at times. And what have you seen in his growth?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hold on that a little bit, because hey, has he flashed and has he done some really good things? Absolutely. Things change on Saturdays when the lights are on, and so again, we're extremely excited about the potential that he has. I will say this: I don't think there's anybody that works harder, like on the field, off the field, especially off the field. Like, he's a guy that is in the building 24/7. He just eats it up. Like, he can't get enough. Like, he can't get enough film time. He can't get enough meeting time. He can't, and it doesn't matter if it's defense, if it's special teams, all of it. So that I will say, but on the rest, we're just gonna have to wait. I'm gonna hold on that.
What's the challenge for a guy who you probably needed to lose some of the bad weight when he got here? Maybe he lost too much weight when he got hurt. Now he needs to put some of it back on. What's just the challenge for him to stay?
Well, that's the thing. He had all that little baby fat, so you got to trim the turkey. He trimmed it up, and then he had the surgery where he lost a lot of it. So you know what? That's I just got to stay on him as a mentor. Keep eating and reminding him to eat. Coach Ed, them doing a great job putting the muscle on with him, but his body, man, is transforming. And for him to be a redshirt freshman, only been here a year and a half, I think that speaks volume on the work that he's put in and what Coach Ed and Coach Hill has done with him.
Coach, there's a lot of expectations from the front seven this year. How has their approach been to practice, with those expectations this year?
Well, yeah. Well, we look at it as we're the engine that makes this thing go, and we got to be physical, we got to be aggressive, we got to play violent, and so that's always our goal, and that's the key to victories. Great defense always had really good, dominant defensive lines, and with the guys that we have coming back, we got a veteran group. We probably have the most veteran group that we have, and so every week those guys we got to put it out there. So every day I push them to be the best version of themselves. Go out here, man, and let's get better. Let's get the O-line better. Let's compete. And let's see where we are in 2 weeks.
Kendrick talked about the bonding that goes on,
That's right.
both on and off the field in the meeting rooms. It's kind of an obvious question, but how does that help you as a coach and obviously it helps them.
Well, that's huge. You know, the camaraderie. You know, you got to be a unit, and so you got to make everybody feel like, you know, they matter. Everybody has a role to play, and so that's huge. You know, they spend time, and I told them that, like, you've got to spend time outside the building together, right? Go ahead, you know, hanging out. You know, they play the video games. Apparently, Khalil likes to cook, so they go over. You know, they love to eat, so they all go over and they eat and they have a good time, and that's what it's about. You know, and then, you know, they watch film together. All that's going to pay off for us, and so, you know, I just keep speaking it. Coach White, you know, Coach Stoops always talking about, you know, the camaraderie of the team and their attitude and stuff. And you got to have that in our room. And there's no hating, there's no division. We're all one unit, and we all going to do it together.
How have you seen Dion handle all the hype this summer? Every one of these All-American lists and mock drafts that comes out. How is he handling all of that?
He's good. Y'all remind him, you know, the noise. You know, shut the noise off. You know, don't believe everything you read. You know, because we've had really talented guys like him that's been here, and they was projected to go first round, and they did. And it's because you sit there and you listen to all this, and then you forget the hard work you got to put in. You got to continue to do that, especially when you want to play the next level. It's a mental game, and all those guys are professionals, and they get it. And so he has to understand that, you know, at 19, 20-year-olds, like, he has to understand, like, you can't just keep reading and believing everything that you read, because they'll build you up, they'll tear you down. And so, you know, I just try to keep him even-keeled. He's done a really good job with that, and he's working every day.
What's the key for Kendrick playing inside and not having that weight that he once had, and some of the challenges that could pose to him?
His quickness. You know, Coach White's very smart, and so he'll adjust, you know, his calls to the personnel that we have in there. You know, if Kendrick's in that, we may move a little bit more, you know, to use his quickness. The one thing about O-linemen, they hate to move. And so we get those quicker guys in there where they can go and mess up the numbers and get out the guys, play fast, get in the backfield, tackles for losses, stuff like that. So, you know, we got a plan. We have a plan for him. But he's just got to keep eating, keep lifting, gaining that weight, and he's going to be fine.
What did you see in the scrimmage from Saturday? First live action, kind of, just what really kind of stood out to you?
You know what? 92. You know, you guys haven't mentioned Khalil. Khalil Saunders has had a really good camp. You know, he's a big, long, athletic guy. Had a really good year in the weight room off-season wise. I'm expecting nothing but huge things from him. You know, he's a fourth-year guy. So he's another guy that he's got to play big for us and show up. And so he's done some really good things. And then Saturday, all the guys had their time, right? And so what we got to do is when we get tired, we just got to, the mental toughness has to set in where you don't have many buts. You know, you got to go left and then you go right, or you're supposed to go right and you go left, or you're supposed to do this and you know, you get tired. And so I just got to keep getting those guys in shape. I think that's the biggest thing I took from Saturday.
Oftentimes, you got to get players to drop weight depending on position. What's it like having to encourage guys to keep eating?
You know what? I don't know what's going on. It's like they all was born with these silver spoons in their mouths, and they don't like to eat. There's great food in there. I mean, the nutritionist, she's done a great job. Pruitt and Coach Stoops, the kitchen, it's awesome. They do a really good job. They cater us. I'm trying to get those guys, stop eating chicken wings and hot dogs and hamburgers all the time. Go in there and get you some really good quality food. You know, it's almost like a car. You have a Lamborghini, you ain't putting no 87 gas in that, right? Or that thing ain't gonna run very well. And so that's why I tell those guys, they got to fuel their bodies with the right things. And so as long as they do that, they'll be fine.
A little better than when you were here.
I know, just a little bit. Oh, these guys got it made, man. These guys country club, they got it going on in there.
Speaking of that, Brad was just talking about with some of the weight gain that Ox has put back on. He's starting to kind of look like that dominant guy again. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. That's the thing. So what I do is I go back a year or two, or a couple years ago when he had the weight on, and how physical, how quick he was, and how he was playing at a high level. Now, he's still playing at a high level, but he's got to be consistent. And when I'm up and down in my weight, my energy level goes up and down, I don't have a chance. I'm not giving myself an opportunity to do that. So he sees that now. He's eating a lot. Khalil's cooking for him, so that's good. And so, but he's locked in and doing some really good things for us.